Hi everyone, welcome to my TTC vlogs. This is my first video and I'll just tell you a little bit about myself. My name's Kelly and my husband Kevin and I have been married for just a little over 2 years. We got married in October of 2009. We decided we were going to wait to try and conceive until at least a year after we were married. I was in agreement to that, and however, I heard 1 year and he heard at least. So 1 year passed by and he wasn't ready. So we waited a little bit longer. I went off birth control in January of this year, 2011, in hopes that he would be ready sometime in the spring or summer. I've been on birth control for, I would say about 4 or 5 years, on and off. And I don't really remember what my cycles were like before that. They were probably 35 to 40 days, anywhere in between there. I never really kept track because I wasn't trying to get pregnant. I wasn't really needing to keep track of them. So all I know is I did have a period every month. Anyway, went off of the pill in January, and I was having regular cycles up until about May, about 28 to 32 days. And June came around, and I noticed that I was late, so I was kind of hoping that we were pregnant, but unfortunately we were not. So I ended up getting a blood test and going to the doctor and talking to her, and my cycle ended up starting a few days later. So that was about 38-day cycle. Then in July, I noticed I did not start my period, and kind of concerned me. I was wondering what was going on, so I called the doctor in the beginning of August. I gave it, my body a few more days just to see if it would start. I called her in the beginning of August, and since I had just been there, she basically had me go in for a blood test to make sure I wasn't pregnant before she put me on Provera to induce my cycle. So I went on that in August. She had said to me that if I started my cycle in September on my own, that I did not have to go in and have a consultation with her. However, if it did not start after the 38th day, then I needed to call in and go in for my appointment. So that's what ended up happening. I did not start again in September on my own, so I went in to meet with her. I'm sorry, my hair is really bugging me today. I went in to talk to her, and when she had said that I needed to come in and talk to her, the way the nurse said it kind of scared me a little bit, because she had said, if you don't start in September, come in and we'll talk further about treatment. Whenever you hear treatment, that just makes you kind of crazy, because you just think automatically something's wrong. And so yeah, I just didn't really know what she meant by that. Anyway, I should also mention that I'm an ultrasound technologist, so I kind of have a little into maybe more information or more education than the average person trying to conceive. So I already know about, endometriosis, polycystic ovarian syndrome. I know that miscarriages happen a lot more than people realize. I know there's a lot more complications to trying to conceive than maybe the average person, I guess. So anyway, when she said treatment, that kind of triggered my brain, and I started, kind of getting a little nervous. So anyway, I went in for my appointment in September. She did run further tests. She did blood tests back in June, I believe. And at that point, my blood work came back negative for polycystic ovarian syndrome. So when I came in September, she had reminded me of that. She said, I don't think that you have that. Your labs came back normal. However, it does appear that you're not ovulating, because if you're not starting to cycle on your own, then most likely you're not ovulating. So that created a problem, because you have to ovulate to have a baby. So we decided that we were going to put me on Clomid if I was in agreement. My husband was there at that meeting, and he thought that sounded like a good plan. I'm sorry, I have notes that I'm looking down at, so I'm not trying to not look at you. So yeah, we decided to do the Clomid first round in October. That ended up being really good. I actually did ovulate that month, which was excellent. I wasn't expecting that to happen. Usually, I mean, I didn't want to have high expectations because it doesn't always work the first time, doesn't always work the second time. So that was just really exciting. She had told me to track my ovulation with OPKs, and I did that starting cycle day 11 through, I think I got my positive on the 18th, and I believe I ovulated on the day 19 or 20. So that was exciting, and I was just excited that my body seemed to be reacting well to it. I did have some symptoms, a little bit moody. My husband would argue otherwise, more like a lot moody. I did have quite a bit breast tenderness, very, very sore. I've heard that Clomid can give you symptoms that mimic pregnancy. So, yeah, that was a little confusing because whenever you get a symptom of pregnancy, you're always like, ooh, is this it? Or, oh, wow, that happened fast. Or, you don't want to get your hopes up. So, anyway, positive ovulation October. I did, however, get a negative pregnancy test at the end of October, beginning of November. I did start my cycle on my own, November 3rd, I believe, which was really exciting. I was happy about that, and I thought, oh gosh, I'm not going to have to go on Provera. It's not going to be an extra 10 days that I have to wait to start my cycle. So that was really exciting. I was ready to start the next round of Clomid in November. So we did that. Got a bit frustrated because I wasn't getting any positive OPKs at all. Cycle day, 14, 15, 16, 17, I wasn't expecting to get a positive. Cycle day 18 and 19 passed, and it wasn't positive. It was pretty annoying. And cycle day 20 came, still not positive. I was charting my temperatures this month, or last month rather, and it was confusing because I believe on cycle day 18, or I can't remember it quite, but 18 or 19, my temperature spiked. And I was pretty consistent with taking my temperature every morning at the same time before I moved, before I got out of bed. My husband and I even switched sides of the bed so I could be near the nightstand to reach the thermometer. So anyway, yeah, I was really frustrated and my temperature spiked. So the OPKs were saying that I did not ovulate or did not get the LH surge, but my temperature said that, or spiked, and so that made me think that maybe I did ovulate the day before. So I called my doctor on Monday morning. They brought me in for a blood test, and they said that, or actually it wasn't a blood test, it was an ultrasound to verify follicles. And then they wanted me to do a 21-day blood test. So we did that. That was the day before Thanksgiving. It was a Wednesday, the 23rd. Had to wait all weekend till Tuesday of the following week to find out if it was negative or positive. It was, in fact, my progesterone levels was 0.5, which was awful. It has to be, usually if you ovulate, it's above 10, at least 10 or above. So that was pretty sad. So it was pretty obvious that I did not ovulate. So I had some decisions to make, either move forward with another round of Clomid in December with my regular OBGYN, or I kind of the wheels started turning about going to see a reproductive endocrinologist. So my reason for that is because when they did blood work back in September, it was evident that I had PCOS. And they also found that I have elevated thyroid antibodies, which puts you at a increased risk for miscarriage. So knowing that I have 2 endocrine issues already diagnosed, that I felt maybe that would be the best route for us. I didn't really feel like my OB was monitoring me as much as she should have. There were some other things that she said she was going to monitor, and I ended up having to remind her about. And I didn't feel like she was on the ball about it. Understandable. They're a very busy office. She's a great doctor, great OB, great OBGYN. I mean, I have no issues with that. It's just this isn't their specialty, and I just feel like I'd be better monitored and have a better relationship maybe with someone that is trained in helping people get pregnant and conceive. So anyway, so I talked to my husband about that. We were in agreement. We had actually decided that we were going to go another round of Clomid in December with my OB while we waited to see if we could get an appointment with the reproductive endocrinologist. I wasn't expecting to get in so soon. When I called, they said, when do you want to come in? And I just had it in my head that we would go in after the first of the year, so I made an appointment for the beginning of January. Then I hung up the phone and thought, gosh, what did they mean by that? Maybe they could have gotten me in sooner. So I ended up calling back and said, well, how soon could you get me in if I wanted to come in December? And they said the 14th, which was, at the time, I think I called on November 30th or December 1st. So, I mean, that was like 2 weeks away. I called my husband. We decided that that would be better. If there's any testing we need to get done for him or for me, then our deductible is met until the end of the year. So that was a major thing. Also, I just figured I'm at the end of my cycle. I didn't ovulate, so I'm not going to start my cycle on my own. I'm not expecting to. So I guess it's just kind of a perfect time to go in, have a consultation with them, and see what they say and hear the options. And if we're going to do Clomid or some sort of ovulatory stimulant, then it would be best to just kind of start over right now. So anyway, so that's exciting. I'm really excited to go in and have a consultation with him and just to see what he says and kind of get the ball rolling. So, yeah, that's about it, I guess. I will try to update you guys after our first RE appointment and let you know what the plan is. So, follow me and keep watching. I'll keep updating and just I'm excited to start this journey. So, thanks for watching. Bye.